Welcome back, South Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. 2024 is underway, and here we are at D2 Sports Network, Studio B. Studios Mac,
Trev.
we're back.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Football season. Here we go.
Here we go, man.
We're already in it. We're too deep.
We are. We have got a lot of ground to cover, and we look forward to doing that. It's going to be a great season. As always, this is part of the best part of football season, Mac, is getting ready to go. And
Everybody can win a championship right now.
that's right.
Except Florida State.
Yeah, except Florida State. Florida State's out. The Noles 0-2. It's crazy to think if I told you last year Florida State would have 2 losses before we even did one show.
Look, if you don't think power football's back, take a look at Boston College and what Georgia Tech did with Florida State. We'll talk about it throughout the weeks, but I know there's some old school guys on the line. I'm one of them that. A lot of these defenses are set to stop, the spread. Now teams are going back to the future and pound, and you got enough up front to stop. So you see it, and it'll trickle down. You're going to see teams running power more and more.
Yeah, there's going to be more and more power, and it's going to be plenty of running between the tackles, plenty of throwing outside the hashes, plenty of kneels and spikes and field goals, Mag. We got a lot to cover, man. So we'll have plenty of time to cover this in the 14, 15 weeks of the show. By the time we leave here, it'll be frigid. But we'll start out here, and I want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor, first and foremost, the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. They've donated close to $80,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group's also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the show. Also want to shout out Dave O'Sullivan, the founder of South Jersey Glory Days. Sully's the reason we have a platform for you all to watch. He picked us up as free agents a couple of years ago, and we keep on going. Thank you, Sully. Visit his new look site here, sjglorydays.com, for local high school sports coverage. I know we have a lot of people in the comments. We love the comments, as always. If you haven't seen the show before, it's an open forum. Try to get to some comments that are good ones, and this should be an interactive show.
Even some bad ones will kind of.
Yeah, even some bad ones will kind of rein in, and it's always see familiar faces out on Friday nights, Saturday mornings of people who've chimed in on the show and become fans over the year. Had people down at Battle at the Beach, not Bill Belichick, but others, who were asking, when's the show? You guys didn't have one last week, right? But when's it is coming back, right? And here we are. It did come back.
It did come
Popular
back.
demand.
Well, people want their high school football fix. So
They need it.
Yes.
Seems like each summer, Mac, you kind of get ready and you say, we're doing this again, or to have everything in line, and you're not quite sure of exactly what all you need to collect and the information. I'm not sure who the starting quarterback is here. I don't know where such and such plays anymore. And then as soon as that first ball gets kicked off, we're in, baby. This is exactly where we're supposed to be.
Rod, this is my 7th year of being just filling in for a couple. I'm a guest.
That's right.
7th year of my guest appearance.
We can all thank Josh Friedman for having paternity leave at one point, and that allowed Mac to Wally pip him.
It's getting so long now. I don't think people know I even coach football. They just think I'm some guy that does
the guy on the show.
The guy on the show that carries Tribble's bag.
Yeah, exactly. Mac, I'm glad that we're back exactly where we're supposed to be, with the same sense of humor that got us here. But let's talk Battle at the Beach, Mac. We had 14 games in 3 days. Many of them were streamed by Rod here on the D2 Sports Network. Did a great job. Bill Belichick was there. A.J. Green was there, who I didn't know who he was till he got there. But let me tell you, when kids are screaming for somebody, you know they're important. Afterwards, I found how many millions of followers he has on YouTube. Great guy. He was there 2 nights in the house. It was quite an event. It was quite a success, Rod, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it was a success. The crazy part about it is the wind down there. I thought it was going to be nice again. We were preparing for possible rain. The one thing we did not prepare for was the wind.
Yeah.
So, broken canopies were broken, the tents, getting signals in and out, and all of that
So
stuff.
production value, like production stuff, it's pain, right? Wind's not cool. But also, quarterback-wise, you talk to some quarterbacks at different levels, the trouble they have, they'd rather throw in rain than wind.
All right, Mac. Battle of the Beach. Apologies, everybody. First show, didn't have a scrimmage. We're getting back to it.
No tackling. We didn't tackle much
We
in summer.
didn't tackle much. Didn't tackle. Appreciate everybody bearing with us. Mac, Saturday was great. Friday was great. But Thursday night was really the giant event there, Battle at the Beach. We have IMG Academy versus Bergen Catholic. Those two play. IMG wins 27-14. The SMU commit at quarterback Ty Hawkins has 3 touchdowns on the ground, threw for another. But at halftime of that game, and I know we're talking about games, scores, stats, I want to talk about something that was really overdue, and I'm glad that the Coaches Association brought it back, and that is the South Jersey Football Hall of Fame. They inducted 5 members of the Hall of Fame at halftime. Rich Sharpnack Jr., former president of the Touchdown Club, a Pittman grad. Pat Gallagher, former Williamstown assistant. Frank Rigitano, Middle Township head coach. Phil Anastasia, reporter at the Philadelphia Inquirer, Courier Post, and back at the Inquirer. And Bill Fisher, the head coach at Triton, and until Friday was the only coach in Seneca history. It's great to have the Hall of Fame back. It's great to have some good members there, 5 members, and I know that the Coaches Association is looking forward to continuing those inductions moving forward.
Great guys, and it's a little smorgasbord of guys here, right? Coach, assistant coach, head coach, media member. Rich Sharpnack did a great job with the Touchdown Club for years. I mean, just all the things you need what makes high school football so special. Right?
Absolutely.
And especially in this area. So it's I know these guys, and they're all to a man. They're all great guys, and they're important to me. They're important to my family, and it's congrats to these guys. Well deserved. It's awesome.
The thing I love about Battle at the Beach, Mac, is not only has the event taken off in 4 years. I mean, you look at what it started as and what it is now, and it really started, hit the ground running from the very beginning, and that led to the success. But it's overwhelming almost how much success it's had in 4 years, and to be able to incorporate these other pieces, to be able to give scholarships, to be able to honor the people who came before us, and not only that, but to have some great football and a great event for people to enjoy. But it's not just about the football; it's about other pieces. So. My hat's off to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for all that they've done. They sponsored the show. I mean, Battle of the Beach helps sponsor the show, helps do a lot of good for South Jersey football. So thank you to the Coaches Association.
Right. Get any spotlight we can put on the kids, on the schools, and the things they're doing. And we talk about all the time how great, football season is. I mean, look, we're a fan of all the sports, right? Yeah. We love them all.
Yeah.
But when you're in those stands Friday night and you got that drum going and the band and it's just different. It's different and it's great and it's exciting and it's great to be something about back in fall and those first, like you said, every team has a chance to win a championship. Everybody's got fresh expectations and some guys lose some guys have back. Brooksy's back, and he's
back, Mac.
What's he? What's he in his 6th, 7th, 8th year?
It feels that way.
It doesn't. He feels like he's been playing forever.
It really does, man. And it's hard. He was, one of the people who has made the Battle at the Beach what it is.
He's a man now. Like
not
that he was a boy when he was playing as a freshman, but he was young.
Yeah.
He was 14, 15, right? And you knew then he was a special talent. Now he's put on some weight, he has that 6th gear now, and he can move. He's a tough cat to stop for sure.
Yeah, since we're going to go right into the rest of the games we had the Battle at the Beach, Mac, and we're going to touch on that one in a second. But let's just go in order here. You had Manchester Township 26, West Deptford 21. Aiden Lund, great quarterback for Manchester Township for the Hawks. He really played well. I thought that his performance was great. He got a little bit gimpy there at the end of the first half, and that was not ideal for the Hawks. West Deptford takes the lead in the third quarter and can't quite hold on. Mainland 30, Atlantic City 18. That's 15 in a row for the Mustangs. They're 14-0 state champs last year. Gian Franchini, 8 for 14, 188 yards and a touchdown. Chase Hogue, 9 carries for 100 and a touchdown. Peaky Roseboro did his best for AC, threw for 2 touchdowns to Sinai DeGraffenrate, Ice Cup, and also 185 yards through the air, ran for 122 and another score. Good game for Peaky. And the last game before that IMG game on Thursday was Ocean City 35, Cinnamons 7. The Raiders scored 21 in the second half to run away. Clay Compton and Tristan Schmidt each scored twice, Mac. But you'll be proud of me. I put the hat on an O-lineman.
I saw
Clay
that.
Holmes got it.
That's outstanding.
Right side of that line for Ocean City looked great. They're really blowing them off the ball, and the running backs and Schmidt and Compton took advantage of that 100%. On Friday morning, games moved to Egg Harbor Township. Cedar Grove 41, Shalleck 3. Stephen Paradiso threw for 227 yards and 4 touchdowns. He was great. Jackson Morris, 118, 2 touchdowns. Nick Russo wore the hat for the Panthers of Cedar Grove, had an interception and 2 receiving touchdowns. Washington Township, a team a lot of people were talking about before the season, Mac, and we've kind of seen their evolution from the very beginning. You were talking about firing the cannons, how important that was about 6 years ago. And look, man, they had plenty of firepower against Highlands.
It wasn't the Cannons. They brought in the alum, right?
Yeah.
They brought in Schatzman. And when you get somebody who has that bleeds the red, white, and blue, and that's important. And Washington Township is back in business, right?
And how about Frank Holmes up top calling the plays? Also bleeds that red, white, and blue. Had the Township tattoo on his bicep. 23-8, they beat Northern Highlands. They led 16-0 at half. Colin Beeler, 122 yards rushing and 2 scores. Caleb Palagonis, I hope I pronounced that right. If I got it wrong, I have a feeling I'll have plenty of practice through the season. He had 10 tackles and a fumble recovery, Mac, on defense.
Love that.
We got one of our knots of the week. The first knot of the week of the season came from our next game. And it did not take long. Cherokee Middletown South. You got it, Rod. Go ahead and hit play here. First play of scrimmage of the game, and let me tell you, Darwin Walker II. He doesn't quite look like his old man, but man, you could tell he is destined for great things. He goes ahead and snatches this thing out, walks into the end zone early on. He's the one who got the hat. He had a touchdown catch later. This pick six, he blocked a field goal. The Chiefs absolutely rolled Murad Campfield, 144 on the ground and a touchdown as Cherokee gets it going. Congratulations, Mr. Walker, for the first knot of the week of the year. We have another one coming up as well. Winslow, 21, Montclair 0, Mac. There was some shenanigans on the field that kind of overshadowed the result in this one. But let's talk about what happened between the whistles. Karan Ali, 118 yards rushing and a touchdown. Winslow was up 14-0 early, kind of put it on cruise control, wins this thing 21-0. Brawl on the field, 2 players ejected from each side, I believe.
The kids, listen, here's a PSA. Kids, you get in a fight on the field, you're not going to play for a couple games. And your district might help you out a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you can't get the business done in football during the game, you can't get it done. It's the only sport where you are welcomed to hit somebody every play. So if you can't get it done while it's happening, then what's the point of doing it afterwards?
Yeah, that's a good point, Mac. And as the old adage goes, what are you going to do? Punch someone in the helmet, break your hand?
Yeah, right.
Look, things get testy. You play after the whistle, all this stuff. But here's the thing.
You got 25 seconds off, and then you got another play to go do what you need to do.
And as everybody knows, if you get 3 ejections in a season for your team, you're disqualified from the playoffs.
DQ'd. I don't think everybody knows that.
Well, they should now if they're watching our show because.
No. Look, I mean, it's a violent game. It's an emotional game. But because it's such a violent game, you can get out the emotion on the next play.
Yeah, it's true.
And it happens. So take care of it between the lines.
Yeah, it's a shame
before the whistle.
It's a shame that happened. But Winslow, their discipline will be tested the rest of the way. There's one misstep if anybody does end up in a situation that you got to bite the lip. You got to take it now because one more ejection and a very talented team could be.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be. They're a top. I don't know. I kind of know where they are in our best 11 in the preseason. They're in there.
They're in there.
Yeah,
I'll say that for sure.
They're good, real good.
And I don't have to be too good at math. I can't divide too well. I don't know how many times 11 splits to 2, but I know this, it's in the top half of that. Millville 35, Holy Spirit 0. I think this may have been the most impressive game of the weekend. Holy Spirit, I mean, you have an excellent coaching staff, very good team, a lot of different pieces that I think this year you're going to see them be able to put together a lot of wins and be one of South Jersey's. Traditionally, they're always top 6, 7, sometimes number 1. We've seen that as well. Millville put it on them right from the beginning, and the story here, as much as it was about Millville's defense, scoring on the fumble return, it, of course, is about Latsier Brooks, who enters as, many people's player of the year last year, a guy who has now worn the hat more times than anybody else with 5. The next closest is 3.
The next closest is you.
The next closest is me. That's exactly right. And I think, I don't remember if it was 5 or 6 receptions, but 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. One of them goes for 98 yards. He set the state record for receiving touchdowns. He broke his own record, set it again, which he'll do with every touchdown as we move forward, of course. He now has 54, and he may have 13 more games to completely add on. Mac, I don't think in my experience in covering football, I have seen a player as good from day one on as Latsier Brooks because of this. Not only did he do it from the very beginning, but he's done it in the West Jersey Football League where he's playing St. Augustine, Winslow, Mainland, Cherokee,
Lenape.
Shawnee, Lenape.
Yes.
This is not, he came up big in the big games, but he also had 4 games against the team that's across the street that maybe isn't as good, but they're geographic. It's a different world, I understand
He's playing in Group 4 and 5 football.
Yeah.
Look, and that's not a slight on 1 and 2. It's just there's more and more. There's more of more.
Yeah.
And he was doing it as a 9th grader, as a 10th grader, and now 11th grader, 12th grader. This kid's been special since he walked on the field. He's got, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, he just has different gears. People talk about game breakers, difference makers, et cetera, et cetera. He's that, he'll go to the next level. They're going to, kickoffs, punts, get the ball to the kid anyway.
Go ahead, Ron.
I just wanted to know, is there a kid that came in with that much anticipation as far as hype that just hit the ground running? I can't remember. I wanted the fans to put in the chat if there is someone else that they can remember that just came in and running.
Deuce over Camden High, right? He came in pretty.
He didn't come in hot like Brooks.
Maybe not but
just like boom, hit the ground and he's gone. He just takes off.
Right. Everybody makes fun of me that I bring up the old Pennsauken days. Pennsauken kids didn't even play as freshmen. They had a different team, different school, different down the street. So, now I know different kids play a little earlier, but that you got to be able to compete physically with you're going up against big boys in that big conference.
And all that to say this, it's not hard for us to, we can go on to accolades and say, if you've seen him, we knew about him in 7th grade as a one name, he had one name. Like I always say, before the first game, they said, who will get the hat? I said, I'm guessing Brooks. I've never even seen him. I don't know who he is, but he's like Prince. He just has his own, he's one name. And that was the case. But look, he's going to Alabama on a full ride. Yeah. And he's going to play. He's not going to sit the bench, I'll tell you that. But that speaks for itself. And how about Alabama? And how about Jahad Campbell doing his thing down there? And how about Keon Sadd?
Yes.
With 2 interceptions for the Crimson Tide.
I'm grabbing Tommy. I'm like, yo, South Jersey in the house for
South
the Tide.
Jersey in the house,
right?
Rod.
It was a lot of South Jersey over the weekend.
Over the weekend. Syracuse,
yeah.
All over the place.
Yeah, Keon definitely came up big. He's hot, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Hot. And Jahad Campbell did really, really well. Looked good. The question with McCord is he's a South Jersey kid, but do we throw it out there?
All right. Well, he grew up in South Jersey. He maybe crossed the river for high school.
He's South Jersey, in my opinion, when he hits the pros.
Well, okay.
Before that, he's. We never talked about him on this show. For us, when he hits the pros, he's South Jersey. But
I know.
How about the touchdown catch from LaQuinn Allen?
That's
made him look good on that.
Right.
That's what I was getting.
Right.
He was on this show one time.
I understand. He was a man back then. When he was Gatorade Player of the Year that year, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying this weekend with Brooks. I'm like, well, he was the best player on the field. And then I'm like, no, his first year he wasn't. Because they had a pretty darn good guy at running back. I think LeQuinn touched it, 40-some times in that championship game over Winslow, which Millville and Winslow now, as we always say at the beginning of the season, we can see these guys enter the OK Corral, and slowly we wait for them to meet at dawn, basically. Even though they'll meet a little bit before dawn also in the month of September, but
which is great. Look, I like the fact that they play early, they schedule. I mean, it's a little bit collegiate, right? Like they don't care. They're like, we're going to play each other. We're going to figure it out here, and then we'll figure out it again. We'll play again too. It's good.
Saturday, Mac.
Yes.
Southern 17, Highland 0 to open up the games on Saturday. Not a lot of offense. The Rams get 2.
A lot of new coaches in South Jersey too.
Yeah.
A
lot of new coaches.
A lot of new coaches.
Pascack Valley beat Rancocas Valley in the Valley Bowl 31-14. Adam Shaw, the quarterback for Pascack Valley, 135 yards on 14 of 19. Very efficient. Ran for 98. 2 scores. Really good player. But what doomed Rancocas Valley in this one is the last minute of the first half. They allowed a score, fumbled to kick off. I think there was a long conversion on that, maybe 3rd or 4th and long. They allowed the score, fumbled to kick off. Pascack Valley puts another one in. It's 21-7 at half. It was 7-7 right before that, and that took the wind out of the sails.
Turnovers kill, Triv. It's a new year, but
special teams.
It's
you, Mac.
I mean, the turnovers, flipping fields, punting the ball. I know. I'm still boring, but it's still football.
Oakcrest 20, Hamilton 0. Donovan Linthicum, 109 yards rushing and 2 scores on 5 carries, 9 tackles. Outside of Brooks and anybody on IMG or Bergen Catholic, I think Donovan may have been the most impressive player I saw this weekend. Cedar Creek had another impressive performance of their own. Amir Dunbar running the ball, 23 carries, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. Frenchmont Bethea, 2 interceptions on defense. They beat Eastside 20-6. EHT caps the weekend at home, 40-7 over West Windsor Plainsboro. Xavier Kochi, if I got that wrong again, another one I think I'll have practice on through the season. He's a sophomore. 12 for 16, 224 yards and a score, and he ran for 77 yards and 3 more touchdowns, Mac.
Good stuff. I mean, it's great that they start out right out of the gate, right? I mean, and that's going to the Battle of the Beach excites them. I mean, we talked about the season starting a little earlier. By the way, we got a little reprieve with weather this year with the kids.
We did. Man. Felt great.
Wow.
Felt great out there.
I mean, it was, they were going to camp. Tommy's saying, I go, man, you're lucky this year. It's only like 80 degrees. It was kind of sweatshirt weather in the morning, so that was good stuff.
Yeah, it really felt great out there.
Because guess what, kids? The coaches don't want it to be 100 degrees either. Yeah. We can't get stuff accomplished when it's 100. We just have to practice when it's 100, but when it's 80, we get more stuff done. Yeah, well, I was glad to see the sun tucked behind the clouds for most of the weekend. Yes. A nice breeze a lot of the time. It felt because usually the first weekend, how many cramp? I mean, you're going to get a couple kids cramping too because they're not used to that game speed stuff. But you get a little less.
That was a huge thing. Yeah. Even with the sun not being out and not being as hot, it definitely was a lot of teams and players that were cramping a lot. Because that first game, look, we don't have 3 scrimmages anymore. Mm-hmm. You only got 2. So in that second scrimmage, teams they play whatever a half and get off the field. Nobody's doing full kickoff. Nobody's doing full punt. Right. So your athletes aren't running those 30, 40, 50-yard bursts. And then the adrenaline takes a lot. That just brings a lot, the whole bit, right? And kids throughout the day, they're being told hydrate, Pedialyte, bananas, the whole bit, and they're nervous. They're kids. So well, here's the other thing about that. There are more cramps when it's not hot than when it is, because when it's hot, everybody's thirsty, right? When it's not hot. I mean, we go to those championship games at Rutgers, and it's cold. There's cramps everywhere because nobody's thinking, I need to just drink water. We used to tell the kids all the time, you got to hydrate because your body's trying to keep it's using fuel to keep warm in the pregame. I mean, you're going to get your sweat going, but, you're right. People aren't like, I'm thirsty all day, drinking. And we try to always
make them, get that hydration level in before the game. And like they say, if you're drinking when you're thirsty, it's too late. Like you got to be doing it 24, 48. You got to continually hydrate. It can be annoying because when you drink in the school, what do you got to do? You got to get up. You got to go. So, but it's good to keep hydrated.
All right, let's run through some more of these scores from the first week of the season. Mac, Timber Creek 21, Pleasantville 14, Shawnee 33, Northern Burlington 6. Brett Lundberg, 17 carries, 257 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
He had 3 runs, one of 70. I think it's one of 60, other one of 70. That kid he's a beast. I mean, he played last year, started safety last year, saw a lot of touches at the end of the year. And he's a tough cat to bring down. He's deceptively fast, right? You think he's not really moving that fast. The next thing you know, he's going. I mean, obviously, I was at the Shawnee game. They look like they got some big kids up front. You got the Pecapas kid who's got the Yale commit. You got the Thomas kid, the Lafayette commit. You got Grabowski going to Cornell, playing linebacker at H-back. I mean, they got some size up front. You Drew Prohl playing the tackle for them. They're a big team up front, which we're used to Shawnee. But the perimeters too, you got some skilled kids.
Nichols still there.
You got the Nichols brothers. Nichols wearing 6 now throws you off. With 5, it was always right.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
So it's going to be an interesting year for Shawnee. They got some they got some good size, and they came out looking pretty good. And it was 33 after the third quarter.
Yeah.
So it was a good first showing for the Renegades.
Would you say they called off the dogs against Northern Burlington, or would you say that for Lundberg, you kind of got to be fast when you're being chased by greyhounds?
That either one, but Lundberg didn't play at all in the fourth quarter, and I was happy to see that because, 33-6, game's over. Tell you, it's always funny to see parts of games. I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and Northern, it was 20-6 right before half, and Northern got the ball on the 5-yard line, and they go to kick a field goal and they miss. And you're thinking, if they go in and they try to score and they make it 20 to whatever, 13, 20 to 12, make it a 1-score game. And then, then after the second half, Shawnee comes down, boom, Lundberg, some more Lundberg. And the new quarterback, the Solomon kid, he did a nice job. He's a junior, didn't play last year. No turnovers, no interceptions, took care of the football. First game stuff, that's kind of what you're looking for, right? I mean, we always talk about it for all these teams. The best jump for their team is going to be between week 1 and week 2. So, I watch it as the old gray hair, as you say, right? I watch it as I look for the penalties, the procedural stuff, too many men on the field, not that type of stuff, misalignment stuff, and then are we taking care of the football, like punts? Are we able to punt on 4th down? Sounds cliche, but we didn't fumble, we didn't turn the ball over. And if you do some of that stuff early in the season, you're going to be in a lot of games and play some defense. Tackle.
Shawnee will be in a lot of games this season, Mac, no question about it. Kingsway 23, Eastern 6. Mason Bryan, 58-yard pick 6, a knot. Good job, Mason. Overbrook 36, Buna 0. Triton 30, Cherry Hill West 0. Vineland 24, St. Joe 0. Vineland's defense gets 2 safeties. Good for you, Vineland. Wow, Aiden Barriento and Rayon Carter. Gloucester beats Pennsville 14-0. Mason Woodman, 17 carries, 122 yards, and a touchdown for the Lions. Trevin Burkhart, this little brother of Sharkey, who we talked about everything Burkhart had done. He's up at Kutztown now. He had 13 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown, and 2 two-point conversions as they were singing that old Gloucester spirit. Riverside 28, Palmyra 22. Cherry Hill East 38, Clearview 0. Coach Frapoli is no longer at Florence. Now Coach Frapoli Jr. is at Florence. Congratulations on your first win, Joe Jr. 33-14 over Deptford.
All I know is Frapoli keeps winning at Florence, right?
Exactly. Frapoli wins.
Congrats, Coach.
At Florence. That's a headline that we've been writing for many, many years. Kip Cooper, Norcross Academy, gets their second win in program history as they beat Gateway 16-0. Friday, some big results here. St. Augustine 35, Donovan Catholic 6. Hermits avenge their loss to Dominant Catholic from last year. Julian Turney, 18 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns, one of the best backs in South Jersey. There's no question about that. Roman Coney, Ty McClear, 1 rush touchdown each. Big win for the Hermits. They got a big game this week, too. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. Camden goes out of state, to, in my opinion, one of the best states in all of our states, Virginia. Camden wins 39-17 over St. Christopher.
Isn't it a Commonwealth?
It is a Commonwealth. There's actually 4 Commonwealths, Mac.
Pennsylvania, Virginia, Massachusetts. That's pretty good. 3.
Kentucky.
I'm naming 3 out of the 4 Commonwealths.
Well, if I said they're one of the best Commonwealths, I mean, that's one of 4.
No, you said best state, and then I say Commonwealth. And then
That's good.
Run the tape, Rod.
You're right, Chris. It was 2 losses to Donovan last year. I was talking about the playoff loss for the Hermits. Anyway, Camden beats St. Christopher in Virginia 39-17. Mekhi Brunson, 11 for 22, 239 and 4 touchdowns. Malik Red Hubbard, 4 receptions, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a kick return touchdown. A not. Dahani Cobbs, 2 receptions, 78 yards, and a touchdown. As the Panthers, who have a lot of firepower and a great defense, start off on the right foot. Paul 6, 42. Nottingham 7. Dalton Felinas, 11 of 16, 116 and a touchdown. Nate Klecko, 12 carries, 110 yards and a touchdown. Tyree Roan, this guy is another guy that feels like he's been in high school forever. 2 rush touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. Great player for Paul 6. And we have what is really our nod of the week for 2 reasons. One, it's a great play, and the other one is we've got a background story here. But Nick Reed of Paul 6, pull this thing up here, Rod. If you watch Nick on this play, great technique from the beginning in the slot there. Back pedal, reading the eyes. I got it. I'm going 44 to the house.
Get to the corner. Don't switch the ball. Defense
He's there.
Defense don't have to switch the ball too much.
Great touchdown for Nick. Paul 6, they're going crazy. Now, a few short years ago, I don't remember when this was exactly, but Rod had a youth combine, and there was a young man there, and there he is. Nick Reed in the D2 Athletics shirt. Look at that guy.
Yes.
Right?
Rod, who was the MVP of that combine, Rick? You remember?
Well, it was different age groups. He got the quarterback MVP at the time. He was a quarterback. But all around, he's always been a pretty good skill guy. Malachi James won MVP at that same combine, as well as James Hurd won
Rod,
MVP.
you find him at 10, right?
So if my math is right, Nick Reed is going to go to Syracuse because the other 2 are there now.
Right, that's how D2 Combine is the pipeline to Syracuse.
There you go.
Is that what we're extrapolating?
Hey, man.
But listen, I saw Paul 6 scrimmage early in the season. Their front 7, dudes.
Yeah, some serious.
They got some dudes. So and there's no secret. Big Den Scuderi, Poppy Den loves defense, right? I mean,
he does.
He has teams that can play some offense, but he likes it. He's coached some nasty, successful defenses throughout the year.
He might be upset. I think he's probably upset Nottingham scored 7.
Of course he is.
That's enough to go back to the tape there for this week. A big one for Paul 6. I alluded to it for St. Augustine. Those 2 are going to match up this weekend. Haddonfield 22, Burlington City 12. How about Brody Leonard? 22 carries, 108 yards and a touchdown. Jack McKeever, 4 receptions, 76 yards and a touchdown for the Haddons, who start off on the right foot also. Collingswood tops Clayton in a thriller, 30-26. 2 excellent performances in this game. If you were doing fantasy football for high school, I think you would think about maybe having either Caden Luby of Collingswood, 23 carries, 205 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Or if you go with Clayton, you go with Demetrius Williams, 11 carries, 205 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
But my fantasy team I have Brooks.
You have Brooks.
And then the Lumber kid. So I did okay.
Yeah, you did okay. Williamstown 21, Seneca 14. 2 new coaches in this one, or kind of one new one. And one we have come to know.
One borrowed, one blue, one something old, something new.
Exactly. Adam DiOrio, of course, takes over for Bill Fisher at Seneca. He's the second. Anthony, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Apologies, Anthony. He's the second coach in Seneca's history. And Frank Fusatola is back at Williamstown after many years at Williamstown. Prior to that, he was at St. Augustine long ago. Trey Alexander of Williamstown in this one had 20 carries, 122 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Other scores, Holy Cross 18, Academy of the New Church in Pennsylvania 10, Passaic Tech 14, Lenape 10, Bishop Eustace 24, Sterling 7, Mackay Simmons with 219 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns for the Crusaders, Bridgeton 12, Lower Cape May 3, Watchung Hills 31, Moorestown 7. Saturday.
New coach for Eustis, too.
Yeah, that's right.
Roccabaldo.
Now, Saturday, 3 games. You ready? We already covered the ones where about the beach. I don't know why I went to take a sip of water there because I think I can get this in for we
God, finish it up. You got it. You're almost there.
No huddle offense, baby. That's what it's all about. Speed, speed, speed. Get it outside.
He's going NASCAR right now.
NASCAR. Green, green, green. Nebraska. Paulsboro sneaks by Pennsgrove 12-7. Malachi McKenzie ran for a score, and Jeremiah Carr had an incredible touchdown catch. Tom McGurk, I know he put it on Instagram. He may have put it on Twitter as well. One of the best catches you're going to see this year as Carr goes up over a guy, takes the ball over his head, and ends up in the end zone.
Crazy.
Congratulations to Paulsboro coach Kevin Harvey. Last year, their first win came in their final game of the season. It's unheard of in Paulsboro, and this year they take care of it early.
Yeah,
12-7.
Yeah, they weren't going. Yeah, they weren't going a while without a win this year.
Here's another debut of coaches. Actually, these next 2 games are. Burlington Township takes Coach Steve Everett's debut in what was also Coach Lamont Robinson's debut for Absegami, as Burlington Township wins 34-0. Barron Davis goes 13 of 20 for 212, 2 touchdowns. Aiden Binns ran for 83 yards and 2 scores, and Eric Smith caught 3 passes for 84 yards and a touchdown as Burlington Township gets the win. And here's another one. 2 new coaches, but not really new coaches, but one's in a new place and one's in the same place as he was from but never coached. Anyway, whole lot of histrionics there. Willingboro, led by our guy, Kenny Smith, right?
Yes?
No, Kenny, I'm sorry. Yeah. Kenny Scott.
Kenny
Sorry,
Scott.
Kenny.
Sorry, Ken.
You threw a curveball at us.
I
We were like, what?
got Glassboro on the brain, Kenny. I apologize. Kenny Scott. This is why you don't run no huddle the first week of the season.
You're out of shape.
You're out of breath.
You're a mess.
Guys are tired.
I gotta blow a time. I gotta blow a time out here. We're gonna bang.
Hands over. We
McNabb.
practiced this. We practiced
Right?
this.
McNabb in the
Didn't.
Super Bowl, man.
Kenny Scott is at Willingboro. His team won 35-0 against Salem, led by Kemp Carr this season. Sean Taylor threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for another. Brandon Cox and James Pemberton each caught a touchdown passes. Willingboro moves to 1-0. Whew! All right. That pretty much recaps all the action in week 0.
Lenape new coach, Matt Kreider.
Lenape new coach. Yeah, a lot of new coaches. But you're not getting back in the game yet.
Who? I'm helping out right now. The 10-year-old MYAA team.
Yeah, okay. Well, we don't cover the 10.
Our 110s.
All right.
What?
I heard about the all-star coaching staff over there.
Let's not call it an all-star coaching staff. It's a bunch
Hall
of
of Fame coaching
It's
staff.
a bunch of old
Hall
guys.
of Fame coaching staff. That's right.
I don't know about that either. It's a bunch of old guys coaching 10-year-olds.
All right. Well, we'll get to them later in the season. You guys keep winning. We'll talk about you. How about that?
We got to learn how to block and tackle first. Let's start
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Run that no-huddle offense.
Let's slow down.
Let's take a break. We're going to come back and look at next week's action right after this. So stay tuned to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy show's presenting sponsor is the West Jersey Football Coaches Association. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. And in less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and dedicated itself to helping others. They've donated close to $80,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had nothing but the best to say about Mike Foti in the time I've had the chance to be around him and his crew. SRA is a gold accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up Best of South Jersey awards throughout their past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy show is also sponsored by the NJFOA South Officials Association. Are you passionate about football? Don't wait. Become a part of the NJFOA South Officials Association and join them to help officiate high school football games. With a diverse community of more than 250 members, they proudly oversee every high school football game in South Jersey, setting the standard for officiating in the state. By joining the chapter, you will become part of a team that upholds the highest standards in the game. They are more than just officials. They're advocates for sportsmanship, integrity, and guardians of player safety, champions of fair play. They offer the proper training to ensure you're ready to make the calls and uphold the values. Ready to put on the stripes and join the team? Visit www.njfoasouth.org and hit Join Us to register now. That's www.njfoa-south.org and hit Join Us to register now. Elevate your love for the game and become a football official with NJFOA South. All right, Mac, we're ready. We're ready to go. Friday night football. There's actually some games Thursday night as well, a couple of them if you need to get out. Yeah. Friday night, however, we've got, the biggest game Friday night, in my opinion, is going on in Brazil. It feels a little bit weird that the Birds are going to be playing on Friday night, doesn't it?
That is odd. But, the NFL now, right? You're going to have a game on Thursday night. You're going to have a game on Friday night. You probably have a game. They don't care anymore.
They don't care.
It used to be, they respected, not respected. It was this, college was this, high school was that. The NFL is saying, we're going to play whenever we want. And we're going to watch.
It's just weird.
It is weird. But it's okay for a first game, because it's your first game. It is what it is, and then once you get it done, you actually have a little extra time to get ready for week 2. They don't play till week 2. Aren't they Monday the following week?
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I'm not even a schedule nut like that, and I kind of know that's like a mini bye.
Yeah, it's just some things are supposed to be sacred. I thought Friday night football.
Well, I did too, but it is, it's probably about money, no?
Probably. We adjust though. We adjust, and for my adjustment,
I hope that field's in good shape. I know it's a soccer field. It's got to be a soccer field, right? I would think, but they're different. Those fields.
Yeah, it is weird, and like I said, we're all going to adjust. My adjustment is I'll be going out on Saturday.
You know how long it takes to get to Brazil?
I don't. I think 18 hours maybe.
That's not that far, but it's 10 hours.
Yeah, 10 hours.
There you go. If it's not 18 hours, what's the big deal?
That's a far flight. I mean, you're almost to Australia by then, but my God, but it's 10. That's a long time in a plane, man.
It is.
So the guys coming from Green Bay, their flight has to be a little bit longer. Right or no?
I think it's kind of
6 or 1.
You're right. They're a little long. You're right.
Maybe.
But we're coming from a little bit more east.
East, yeah.
So someone's going to glow.
Well, it is an Eagles home game, so maybe that's why they did that.
Now, yeah. Well.
That's their advantage. They get to choose what jerseys,
So
and
you have
their
17,
flight's 2 hours
so you have
shorter.
17 games. Whoever, forget the. So will Eagles only have? Do they have 8 away?
I'm guessing I'm guessing this is the 9th because
This-
every team they
okay.
rotate 9 or
Okay,
8. So
if
I'm
you-
guessing
this
this
is
would
your
be the 9th.
ninth game. All right, whatever. I mean, you don't want to give up a home game, and the word is that the Packers never given up a home game in their joint.
I don't see how you could rectify it other than that way to say you get 1 less home game, you still get 8,
You have to.
and that's the case.
And the
so.
Packers have never, like Eagles played in England back when my brother was a ball boy back. I'm going to tell you, 91, 92 with Buddy. They played at Wembley Stadium back then. So they've gone on the road, and they've played other games in Europe. I was seeing something. I think this is the first time Green Bay has done something like this.
Yeah.
And I think the league probably said, "Look, you're one of our diamond franchises. You got to kind of do this."
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, they're pretty good too. Jordan, they're gonna be. It's gonna be an interesting game.
Well, let's.
A lot of variables. I mean, I think the Eagles are better than them, but a lot of variables.
A lot of variables. Let's see. There's going to be some interesting games in South Jersey as well, Mac.
We digress.
We digress. Friday night at 6 p.m. Let's go through the games we have at 6 here. Paul VI at St. Augustine. This is a non-public battle, Mac. Here we go. We got Paul VI has been building the last few years. They've gotten themselves to a point where, they're pretty darn good. St. Augustine's been pretty darn good for a while. And this is an interesting twist here. Per Will Morris, the voice of the Hermits, a friend of the show, a longtime friend of the show. Dennis Scuderi Sr. is the 3rd winningest coach in St. Augustine history at a 37-20 record. Heads to Richland to face the place where he formerly coached. 2nd is Mark Reardon, who had 42 wins, and Pete Lancetta is number 1 with 47. Mac, like you said, when you look at Paul VI this season, they're big up front, but no, I don't think anybody's bigger up front in South Jersey, most likely than St. Augustine. This should be a heck of a matchup.
Yeah, and when I say their defensive front 7, it's not like they're huge. They're good. They're good, And Augie's always got dudes, right? I mean, size-wise up front across the board. So, this is going to be a good test for Paul VI. They're going to decide, if I'm Scuderi, I'm sitting there going, hey, guys, we got to figure out who we are right now.
And it's a big, Augie's, Richland, St. Augustine. Paul VI is in Haddon Township. They're not. Washington Township's in between those two. Township's trying to keep their kids. Is trying to keep. This is a. Do I say recruiting game? Some
every game is a recruiting. Nowadays, every game's a recruiting game.
Come on. So,
sorry.
For the kids who are looking for a Catholic education, they might be choosing between Paul VI and St. Augustine, right?
That's what I'll say. Right now, this is a huge game between the two. St. Joe's is, they're not as high as they used to be, but right now it is Paul VI and
if you're down South Jersey.
Well, it's interesting how that vacuum works too, because when it was always the big 3, right? The Holy Wars. St. Joe, Holy Spirit, St. Augustine. Not in that order, but those 3. St. Joe, fallen on hard times recently, in a rebuild situation.
Right.
And you wonder, it's just going to be these 2. No, Paul VI is there to kind of close out they built their way up to kind of close out the triangle, right? Like they're in the mix.
So you mean you're talking about recently, 20, 25 years.
I'm talking about in the 10 years since I've been here.
Yeah, okay.
It looked like you wonder for parochial football in South Jersey is just going to be those 2.
Right.
Paul VI has built it up to where it's clear that's not going to be the case.
Like when I tell people,
overall winning games.
When I tell people that Bishop Eustace beat St. Joe Hamilton 3 years in a row in 1986, 87, and 88 for the championship, people think I'm crazy. I'm like, Eustace dominated. Paul VI in the 80s. That team in the 80s was arguably one of the best teams ever assembled. That's Scuderi by the
cross in the 90s.
In the 90s
is probably the best.
Is the best, right? Exactly. I was one of our coaches on that 10-11 team who played offensive line, Sherlock, for them. So it's like.
Do you think that is the best team in South Jersey history?
That whole. Yeah, they were pretty good. They had some dudes.
What do you think, Rod?
Oh man,
Let's open that up to the chat.
Nice.
There's a debate. Who's the
Rod,
best team?
we're gonna
Who's
have
the
5
best
people
football
knocking at
team?
the door in about 10 minutes. Think, what?
Not me.
Right. I mean, look. I mean, they were when beating Bosco at Rutgers on grass, 47, 8-yard field goal.
Not too shabby.
No.
Also at 6 o'clock, Atlantic City heads to Wheaton Field.
Oh, mind you, Scuderi was the D coordinator of Holy Cross in that team on that
there you
team,
go.
and Scuderi was the D coordinator of Paul VI on that 80 team. Scuderi's Benjamin Buttons. He might be 95 years old. That guy. He's been coaching. Denny, you know I love you, Den, but he's been coaching in South Jersey forever, and some really good teams, man. Legendary.
Mr. Ali chimes in. He says Wilson 01.
See, I
can't
put it out. Listen.
I was like, be careful.
Yeah.
I was at Eustis when we played Wilson 01, and I wanted to go home early. I'm like, that was no running clock then. I'm like, can we, this thing can end a little early if we need to. But that was, they were special.
Walter Hurd says 88 Buna. Pretty good team. Donahue coach.
I was
Undefeated.
9 years old running around with a Centerville Simba's helmet.
You weren't in Buna, and
no,
I know you
wasn't
weren't when you were 9 years old. You weren't out in
I don't
Buna.
know that one.
I mean, look, you know me.
Mainland had some pretty good teams.
I'll throw out 84 Salkin and just drop a mic. Boom.
84 Salkin, all right.
I mean,
Salkin would make themselves into
am I
the
going to
conversation.
am I going
at
to
some point.
start McNair and Arline and Greg Mark and Ben Griggs and I'm going to start, right? I mean.
That's one of the things that came up this weekend. I'm not going to go off topic. We're talking about greatest teams, best teams. Over the years, in the decades, there have been some really good teams. So it's kind of hard to pick one.
Right.
So the question was asked about Brooks. Is he the best player that played? And it's kind of hard to say yes or no because there have been so many really good players.
Like I'm really dating seeing Mike Rozier play. I mean,
that, and that's what I
was. I saw Mike Rozier play. Yeah. That was crazy. That guy.
Well, and the other side to that point too, Rod, as we were talking after one of those games about that,
Jonathan Taylor.
You can debate and all that, but the fun part about the debate, or the thing you always got to remember in that debate is, you still got to embrace, we will all go back to all of our favorite players and wish we could see them play in high school one more time. You just got to embrace the moment. Because all that stuff is
right
to be compared to whoever.
Well,
just enjoy what we're watching. And that's why all those tickets were getting sold at EHT on Saturday night or Friday nights, because everybody wanted to get a glimpse of, a special player.
And that's where I am with it. I just accept that in the moment that this kid is just doing something special.
Yeah.
I can't tell you if it's the greatest ever, but I know right now what he's doing is remarkable.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, get off that kid, that guy back in the day. No, Brooksy's special, man. I love him. Right? And I'm a cranky old man, and I love watching him play.
No, but that's true. I mean, it's comparison is the thief of joy. And the joy we get to watch Brooks with this season is what matters. And if you want to see Mr. Brooks, it actually is a good segue into our next game here. Atlantic City heads to see him at Wheaton Field at 6 p.m. on Friday night. Atlantic City, they had some things come together in that opener that I thought were very promising, especially Peaky Roseberg, quarterback. We know what Ice Cup can do, but I thought Peaky looked great. I thought the D-line looked pretty good for much of that game as well. Millville, we know they look great all the way around, especially defense as fast as they are. AC, look, man, they really have a tough schedule, okay? Now, they're playing everybody. So I was talking to Ice Cup on the fence line there during one of the games, and he's like looking out at Cherokee. He's like, we got to play them. We got to play Millville. I mean, we got to play everybody, but he's up to the challenge. That's going to be a lot of fun in Millville, Wheaton Field, 6 p.m. Cherokee at Lenape. The Chiefs look great. Lenape's looking for their first win after a tough loss on the road. New coach, like you said. Coach Glatz, of course, still at the helm of the Chiefs. I know you have some good rivalry memories. I remember JoJo Kellum in the bowl. I know that was a good one, Mac. series has, over the last however many years, this has been a pretty good rivalry. How about, who was the kicker? COVID year.
Shank.
Shank.
Yeah, I mean, Shank wins it in the bowl. I mean, Lenape went on a run there and it was crazy, beat Cherokee like 5-6 years in a row, which is unheard of. When I got to Lenape in 11, I kind of was like, that was the team we had to beat.
Yeah.
Like until you beat your, first of all, they were in district. Until you beat Cherokee, you couldn't really say you were a program in our district or in South Jersey. You had to beat Cherokee, you had to beat Shawnee, and we beat Cherokee for the first time in 2014 at our program when I was there, and it was at home, and we didn't win in the bowl until 17, and so that was beating Cherokee at Cherokee too. That's a whole other thing. So maybe we could run a whole show on that place trying to win games at Cherokee. So, but yeah, it's new coaching staff at Lenape, good. Coach Kreider, they had to expedite some things in the summer, and he's going to get it together. But Cherokee's a special team this year too. They got some. We talked about it. They got some guys up front. They got Walker. They got Camp. I mean, it's like they just get him out of that running back. They get a running back and just and Glatzy's patient, man. He has no problem just pounding it.
Love what I saw of them in the opener.
And Birdie's a stud. He's a sophomore. He's going to be
Cooper Birdie.
He's going to be he's a special. He's an athletic quarterback. He's going to be a special kid, special player.
All right. How about Camden and Kingsway, 6 p.m. Kingsway started strong in their win over Eastern and has a good defense. Camden, of course, always has a great defense, and they started strong in Virginia. They come back and open up their play in state at Kingsway, 6 p.m. Also at 6 p.m., Oak Crest at Holy Spirit. This is an old Cape Atlantic League battle. I guess you call it old, quote unquote. Oak Crest is not a new school anymore. They started with that big win on Donovan Linthicum doing a little bit of everything, and that defense looked great in that game. Spirit's going to be pretty hungry after losing 35-0. A lot of familiarity between the kids that grew up with each other there in that local rivalry, so that should be a good one as well. Hamilton at Mainland. Hamilton, they're a team that needs to bounce back after last week and put something on the field that resembles what Hamilton's all about. I know Coach Rosso would agree with that. At Mainland, Mainland's won 15 in a row. This is not last year's Mainland team. I want to be clear about that, but they're still pretty darn good. They're going to be really well coached. Rocco DiBiaso, excellent linebacker, running back. We talked about before what Franchini can do with throwing the ball, very efficient. They're going to have it schemed up and dialed up. They host Hamilton at 6. Cumberland and Shalleck, not a game we would usually bring up, but that is a rivalry game down there. It's a big game when the Colts and the Cougars match up. Camden Eastside, they are another team to start out with a loss at Battle of the Beach and would like a win. They're at Willingboro. One of the better games I've seen in the regular season of all time happened up there that one year. Willingboro won that one. It's always a classic. When those two tangle, Kenny Scout was an assistant at Camden Eastside last year. He's the head man at Willingboro now. A couple others here. Williamstown, Shawnee, 6 p.m. Friday. Familiar tangle between those two teams. Gushing and Fusatola. Washington Township at Pensauken. Sauken's a team that kind of slides under the radar when we talk about these teams, but they're a team that should be ready to be able to take a jump here.
They got some speed, team speed.
They've had some good regular season success, but this will be a good measuring stick for them against Washington Township, who also takes it on the road and is going to face a different type of team than they played in the opener in Northern Highlands. Delsea at Woodstown, 2 new coaches in this, Jason Volpe and Frank Trouts. These two, of course, Sal Marquez and John Adams stepped down after last season. 2 teams that had a lot of success recently in Delsea and Woodstown. They're going to face off 6 p.m. on Friday. I think some of these might be 7. I'm not sure. I might have lost something in there. I don't know. That's why we practice. Be sure to go to NJ.com and look up what time the games are. Don't take my word for it. Saturday, Paulsboro at Audubon, 11 a.m. Haddonfield at Woodbury, 11 a.m. 2 old Colonial Conference rivalries taking place on Saturday morning. Vineland at ACIT, 1 p.m. The reason this game matters is because it is the first 1st varsity game in ACIT history. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 1st 1st varsity game in ACIT history. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 1st 1st varsity game in ACIT history. And I believe if I'm not mistaken, they have an assistant there by the name of Paul Sacco.
Interesting.
Highland at Winslow, 6 p.m. Highland, rough start. Winslow, we talked about earlier, started strong, kind of cruise control. On field, fracas overwhelms the result, which was, defensively they look great. I think they're going to be looking to get back on track at home on a Saturday night. The only game I left out on this of the big games is our game of the week, which we'll bring up right after this in our final segment and our first best 11 rankings of the season. Sit tight, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show's presenting sponsor is the West Jersey Football Coaches Association. The West Jersey Football Coaches Association was established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey, and in less than 4 years, the association created the Battle at the Beach and dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated close to $80,000 to date to provide scholarships through the National Football Foundation and the Touchdown Club of Southern New Jersey. The group has also donated to the charity Philly Faces, which helps those in need of facial reconstruction surgery. Thank you to the West Jersey Football Coaches Association for their sponsorship of the show. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by SRA Home Products. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They've built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had the opportunity to be around owner Mike Fody, and I have nothing but the best things to say about him and his crew. SRA is a gold-accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, under the elite provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up a ton of Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by the NJFOA South Officials Association. Are you passionate about football? Don't wait. Become a part of the NJFOA South Football Officials Association and join them to officiate high school football games. With a diverse community of more than 250 members, they proudly oversee every high school football game in South Jersey, setting the standard for officiating in the state. By joining the chapter, you will become part of a team that upholds the highest standards in the game. They are more than just officials. They are advocates for sportsmanship and integrity, guardians of player safety, and champions of fair play. They offer the proper training to ensure you are ready to make the calls and uphold those values. Ready to put on the stripes and join the team? Visit njfoa-south.org and hit Join Us to register now. Elevate your love for the game and become a football official with NJFOA South. We are back, folks, for our final segment on the first episode of the season at the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. Thank you for following along. We appreciate it. Be sure to share this out after the show. We'll also have the audio up on Spotify at some point and probably Apple Podcasts, and we'll put this recording on YouTube. So share it out to anybody who's interested. If you got friends that you went to high school with, have kids who play high school football, or just in general want to learn about what's going on in the region, feel free to share that out.
Or just see our familiar banter.
Yeah. Familiar banter, exactly. Our familiar banter is key. All right, Matt, game of the week this week. Look, I'm going to be very candid about this. The game of the week, the participants for the game of the week were narrowed down in terms of who wasn't playing on Friday night. I haven't missed a Birds game since 2005.
And you're going to Brazil.
I'm not going to Brazil, but I wish I was. Actually, you know what? After you told me about that flight, I'm glad I'm not going to Brazil.
Well,
Plus, apparently, you have to stay in your hotel the whole time.
why?
Rod, they said you can't even take your cell phone out on the street.
There's Brazilians live there.
jacked.
Brazilians live there, no?
Yeah, you can't wear green.
They don't use cell phones, apparently.
And you can't wear green.
Can't wear green. What are you going to wear to the stadium?
That's true.
The black jersey?
You wear the black
I have
jersey. You wear the black
I wear
jersey.
the black jersey.
Well, the game I'm going to Friday night starts at 6.
Shawnee Williams?
Shawnee Williamstown.
You sure?
I am sure.
Okay, good.
Shawnee Williamstown at 6, starts at 6, probably over 8:15, 8:30. Scuderi's going to probably throw it a little bit. That's what he does. So maybe 8:30, and then I'll be at my house watching the Birds by 9 o'clock, right? What I'll be midway through first quarter.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you.
I'll be giving it. Rod, I got to give him updates now.
Game of the week. Two teams didn't play last week. One team has a lot of high expectations. The other team's a team that is always there at the end in the playoffs. A team that has been pretty consistent over the years and has some players to boast about as well. Some guys I think are really going to jump onto the scene. It's 11 a.m. It's not far from your old stomping grounds, Rod. Glassboro at Haddon Heights. Glassboro is the proverbial favorite, perennial favorite right now, not just in South Jersey, but in all of Group 1 football in the state. Kenny Smith, who played at Hamilton the last 3 years, is there, but he will not be playing on Saturday as he sits due to transfer rules. But, you know, we talked earlier about a guy who had 2 interceptions for Alabama, and he's got 2 little brothers who are at Glassboro themselves, and Xavier and Amari Sabb, pretty good players. Simmons up front is about as good as it comes in Group 1 ball in terms of linemen and beyond Group 1. So a lot of high expectations for Coach Breaker and Glassboro. I look forward to seeing them now without Kenny, and then down the line, hopefully with him as well, and see what is going on with the team that we have. We expect to be there at the end of the day. I think there are a couple of groups in South Jersey where you can look at the contenders right now. A lot of football to play, a lot of things can happen. But if you were someone who wagered about things, and luckily, thank goodness, you can't wager about high school football, but you would say Glassboro at the end of the year, and in Group 4, I think between maybe a Millville or a Winslow or whatever, you get pretty good odds.
We could talk units. We don't have to talk dollars.
Talk units.
You can talk units.
You would
Ron,
see some West Jersey representation in those state championships.
Because there's nowhere
right,
you can bet on high school football, Rod.
Well, there are, but
Come on.
I was gonna put the veil of ignorance over that for this, but you know,
We're in the trust tree, right? Aren't we in the trust tree?
We're in the trust tree. I'm looking forward to the game. I think it's going to be a good one, Rod. I think it'll be interesting to see Heights. Like I said, they always have some guys, and Glassboro, we know they got some guys as well.
It's gonna be it's a good clash. Obviously, we know these guys are. We talk about early in the show. We like when these top teams play each other early in the season. It's kind of cool, right? And it is a good game of the week. And you know who's a Haddon Heights alum? To bring it full circle today.
Sam Reddick.
Well, that too. Him too. No.
Sam Reddick's not playing
No.
in that game.
Dennis-
we don't even know if he's playing in
Dennis
any game.
Scuderi Jr. was
There
at
you go.
Haddon Heights back in the day.
A lot of Scuderi in this show.
Yeah.
A lot of Scuderi in this show.
Well, they got 2 coaching. Steve Scuderi coaches at Paul. They got a lot of them coaching in South Jersey.
Absolutely.
Did we bring up how many combined years that Fusatola and Gushu have coaching together combined?
Kevin Emmons
Is it
said
1,000?
that 473 combined to win.
Wins. I was going to say, how many wins? They got to be close to 500. Thank you, Kevin. And how many years? They got to be close to 500. Or no, no, I'm kidding. About 80 years. They got to have 80 years coaching between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. 80.
That's a good point.
I don't know if it's a good point. It might be factual. It's not. It might be. I don't know.
All right, let's go best 11 rankings, first edition of the season. There are no preseason rankings, and with good reason. So For those who aren't familiar with our rankings, we'll rank the best 11 teams as per Mac's
And why 11?
advice, because there's 11 guys on the field.
We only played
on
only the best 11, Rod.
Only the best.
Only the best 11. We'll do this up until the first week of the playoffs, and then we stop. Then we regroup after the playoffs for our final show to unveil the final rankings. We'll start out this week with the Cedar Creek Pirates. They beat Camden East Side 20-6 at the Battle of the Beach. They are number 11. Number 10, Glassboro has not played. I will see them on Saturday against Haddon Heights, 11 a.m. Number 9, Paul 6. They open up with a big win over Nottingham. They have a big test this week down in Richland. Dennis Scuderi Sr. leading the way. Against take his boys down and face a team who's slightly higher.
How many
up in
combined
these
wins
rankings.
with him and Lancetta, Kevin? Find that one out. That's got to be it.
Kevin gives us this. Gushue's in his 42nd year. Fusatola in his 28th. So between that and
70.
70 years.
All right, I was 10 off.
Number 8, Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit didn't start the way they wanted to. I have a feeling they're going to be ready to bounce back, but we'll see. Oakcrest is a foe that is, they're in the mix for this as well. We're going to know a lot more about both of those teams after this week. So we got Spirit at 8. At number 7, Cherokee. The Chiefs were about as impressive as anyone at Battle at the Beach. They come in at number 7, and as we said before, they got a lot of different weapons. A big size up front. Birdie played really well at quarterback. The orange is always in the mix in South Jersey football, and this year is no different.
Defense is formidable as well.
Defense is formidable as well. Absolutely. Number 6, speaking of defense, is always formidable. We got Camden High, Coach Hinson and the Panthers. They are, I think, ready to make their statement this season, and they've been making it the last 2 years with sectional titles. That now has become the standard for Camden High after a lot of years of not winning it, 2 in a row. Seems like they're out for more. They moved down to Group 2 this year. Camden did.
So Camden went to 2.
Camden and Eastside are both to 2. Hillside's now 2 South.
And I heard
Mainland's Group 3.
So is Shawnee, I heard.
I don't know about that.
I guess we could probably look that up, right?
Kevin, let us know exactly where Shawnee is. Kevin is the research assistant. And Kevin and Chris Baker and all these guys who are in here commenting, they help so much with the show. Thank you so much. It wouldn't be possible without you.
You're
number
saying,
5.
Are you saying I don't know much facts?
You know facts.
From the 70s.
I'll say this: if we were talking Pennsauken, Deptford, Billy Fisher running the wishbone or running what do you run for?
The triple.
Corby? The triple for Corby.
You ever try to tackle Zach Dumas and Billy Williams?
I
Are you
never
kidding
did.
me?
I never did. If
Are
we
you
were
kidding
talking
me?
that,
Are
we
you
wouldn't need Kevin Emmons. We wouldn't need Chris Baker. We wouldn't need Rod. We certainly wouldn't need me.
Zach Dumas' footprint is still on my forehead, Rod. True story.
Back to the rankings. So far, we have 11 Cedar Creek, 10 Glassboro, 9 Paul 6, 8 Holy Spirit, 7 Cherokee, 6 Camden High, number 5 Washington Township. I thought they were another team incredibly impressive. Looks like they can run it. We know they can throw it. They can defend the pass. Their defensive line's phenomenal. Their linebackers are very good. It doesn't look like there's a lot of weakness on this team. I think they're very balanced.
Culture,
They also have a lot of juniors. So this is a team that we'll be
that.
seeing here for a while. Washington Township at number 5. At number 4, the team that's won 15 games in a row dating back to last year. We know we're talking this year, but you know what? When you got a resume like that, I think you ought to be up here pretty high, and Rod agrees. Mainland at number 4, the Mustangs. We'll just keep on rolling. They have Hamilton this weekend. At number 3, Winslow Township, the Eagles, a lot of talent. Some guys that, again, they'll be on the roster in a couple weeks. They're not on it right yet. But you got to walk that line now, Winslow. You made your bed. You got to sleep in it. You got to be very disciplined for the rest of the season. No question about that.
Yeah, they got to have a little meaty on that one.
Yep. At number 2, St. Augustine Prep. I thought that win over Donovan Catholic's mighty impressive. They got a quarterback who can sling it this year. They got that line. They got Turney. They're always going to play great defense. St. Augustine Prep welcomes Paul 6 into Richland. The Rowdies will be there. I know that. That's going to be a big game in non-public football in South Jersey. And St. Augustine, certainly every year we expect them to be right up here. And they never disappoint. They're always here. They're always here. They're a standing invitation to the top 5. Seems like they moved the velvet rope
They got a lot of dudes.
when the Hermits, when the season
A lot
starts.
of guys, a lot of dudes, a lot of players.
Number one, coming into the season, I think you have a thought of who it could be. You look at these teams, I think any of them, you're thinking maybe it's X, Y, Z, maybe it's 1, 2, 3, maybe it's whatever. But after last weekend, in my opinion, Millville is number one in South Jersey.
Spelled B-O-B-R-O-O-K-S.
B-O.
B-R-O-O-K-S. And their defense, and they got dudes everywhere. But
Yeah, that's probably what propelled them to the number one spot, in my opinion. My personal opinion this weekend, just seeing that defense swarm. The offense is one thing. When you have a player like Brooks, he's one play away from breaking the game open. But some of the guys and some of the positions that we were kind of looking at with Millville as being, we had to see who was going to step into that role. And you had Collins step into that role at linebacker with, what's the quarterback? Just left, just graduated.
Zamat.
The Zamat brothers. You had both of them leaving. The linebacker left, so you have Collins stepping into that role. And he made a big play.
He did.
He's the one that really got that game going with the fumble, the scoop and score. So I just had to put that out.
No, that's 100% right. And last year, that was the strength of the team as well.
yes.
Right.
And
All
look,
season.
and we, I don't want to use the word jealous. That's a bad word. But there's a chip on that defense because they hear about their offense, right? And they were like, we got dudes on defense too, right? Like we got playmakers over here as well.
Yeah.
So and then great breeds great, right? Which breed they're in practice and they're competing and they want guys want to show out.
And not only that, Brooks had an incredible interception and another incredible deflection down inside the 10, I think both of them. So, it's not like, he's our receiver playmaker.
And they threw near him?
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. But I will say this, too, about Millville, Rod. Like you said, that set the tone, that touchdown. I thought the tone was even set before that because on that first drive, Holy Spirit had a long pass, right? You're thinking, they're going to try to move the ball slow and keep the ball away from Millville. They threw first play, long pass, and I think it was the second play, they ran that little pitch to Pops, big running back, on the backside, everything moving this way. And I don't remember which linebacker it was, but I know he was a lot smaller than Pops, which most players were. He bent him right in half, stuck him in the backfield. I said that set the tone that they were ready to hit and they were ready to play, and that's Millville football.
You got to give them a lot of the defense a lot of credit. I'll say it again. That defense kind of set the tone for Millville, kind of kept them around, and they held a really good Holy Spirit team. I forget the kid's name, number one from Holy Spirit.
Jarena,
but he played really well for Holy
he
Spirit.
played great.
They shut out Spirit.
But
that very rarely happens.
Very anywhere. That's crazy. Millville's won until they're not.
Right. And look,
like
let's take a look at real quick. I know we're going to cut it here, but the American Division. Millville's schedule after Atlantic City this week: Mainland at home, at Washington Township, Winslow at home, Delsey at home, at Cherokee, at St. Augustine. We're going to see.
Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of action this year.
Everybody's got a shot at them. They're going to get it.
You could cover the American Division, and that's not what we're going to do. That's not what I'm going to do. But you could just go to the American Division each week, and you got a pretty darn good game.
I'm not looking ahead, but the one that sticks out is that. What's two? You said they have Mainland and then they turn around and play Winslow?
Mainland, at Washington Township, Winslow at home.
Oh, wow. They got three in a row.
Rod, Mainland, Washington Township game, then Winslow.
Wow. That may be the game of the week every week.
Just go down to the glass factory and see it happen.
It might be the game of the week 3 weeks in a row.
It's like the old South Jersey North.
Yeah.
Pensacola, Camden, Wilson, Cherry Hill East.
Kevin Emmons is on it. Millville, Holy Spirit's only been shut out 3 times since 2016. St. Augustine did it twice, and Millville did it last Saturday. Wow. All right, folks.
Impressive.
We're gonna be here every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. for the rest of the season. We can't wait. It's our honor to do this for you all. We get a kick out of it, and I tell you what, man, like we'll get back in game shape.
Am I
Everything will be
guesting
good
again next week?
You're back.
I'm back.
You're back next week.
I'm guessed.
We determined that.
I'm guesting
You
again.
passed. Thank you, of course, to Rod Self and his company, D2 Sports Network. The man behind the glass here does it all from beautiful Studio B. I can't recommend anybody more than I can recommend Rod. And when it comes to podcasting, he is the best. So contact him for studio time. He will hook you up. If you need game coverage, hook him. He can stream. He's got photographers, videographers. It's all good. Thank you all for tuning in. Share the show out. We appreciate it. Any parting shots?
There's some young guys. If you're not, go get your referee certs. If you used to play football and you were a former athlete, we need refs. We need good officials.
We need.
Well, we have good officials. We just need more of them.
And I'll say this: if you're good, you'll move up.
You have
fast.
fun. You have the fun games.
Yeah. So
guys who used to play and go. You're athletic, kinda go, right? I didn't know the rules when I was coaching, so I don't know if they want me being officiating them.
All right. With that, sign up to be an official if you got some free time. Other than that, enjoy the games this weekend, and we will see you back here next Wednesday, 7 p.m., same place, same time, for the South Jersey Football Show. Tim McNaney, Rod Self, I'm Mark Tribble. Have a great night.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.